This is a different style of video than we've done before, and this is a different kind that we'll mix in every once in a while now. But the idea with these videos is to talk about some common injuries, why they happen, and then what you can do to get yourself feeling better again and keep yourself feeling that way. So for the first video of this style, we're starting off with a big one. Maybe the most common injury or type of pain across the world, low back pain. So first off, low back pain is very rarely a back problem. So the ways we're going to fix it are often not going to directly address the back, but some of the muscles around the back, like the hips, the core, and so on. So I want to start with kind of step one. Now this first thing I'm going to show you is great for anyone, but this is especially great if you are feeling a lot of pain and a lot of other movements do not feel good. All this is doing is gently reintroducing some range of motion to the muscles in your back, so hopefully you can feel a little less pain and move a little more freely. Maybe one you've even heard of before. It's called cat and cow, and all we are doing is taking the back through a full range of motion. Arch all the way up, tuck the chin, and then belly button as close to the floor as you can, and head comes up. What you're going to do is just move rhythmically through that for a minute. Maybe you do a couple rounds of that until things start to loosen up. But that is right where I would start, especially if you can't tolerate much other movement. Now, moving further down the road as things start to feel better, or if it's just some soreness and not necessarily pain or an injury that you're feeling. There are two things we want to address. Two of the biggest culprits of low back pain are going to be really tight hip flexors or a weak or uncoordinated core. And that's right where we're going to go. So the first thing we can do to loosen up hip flexors, the quads, is something called a couch stretch. This is something where you can do a stretch kneeling like this. What I'm thinking about is squeezing my butt so I can push my hips forward and get as much stretch as possible down the front of my leg. This is the key, being able to have the hip open. So no angle at the hip. I'm not closing the hip. I'm all the way open, sitting up tall. Again, squeezing your butt a little bit. If you don't feel much of a stretch, what you're going to do is grab a box like I have behind me here, and you're just going to prop that foot up on the box. Again, we have to be able to achieve this open hip position to get the stretch that we're after. The higher the box, the harder this gets. Just make sure you can still get to this position. If not, that means we need a lower box or go right back to the floor. Same idea. Hold this for maybe a minute or two and do a few rounds of that if you need to. Second thing, how can we fire the core muscles a little bit? Waking them up, getting them to function can go a long way to relieving some back pain. So what we're going to do in a very controlled way is create an unstable environment that makes these muscles fire and take that stress away from the back. So if you're in a fair amount of pain or discomfort, this can start with just being on all fours, shoulders over top of your hands, bracing gently here as if someone was going to come poke you in the stomach. You're just going to pick a hand off of the ground and alternate back and forth. Just this weight shift alone is going to make these muscles work. To make this harder, walk the hands out further. Now we're in a little bit more of a plank position, a little more challenging. You're going to have to make that core fight a little harder so that we don't drop that shoulder once that hand comes off of the mat. From there, we can go even more challenging. Full plank, pulling the hand off of the ground, trying to challenge that core again. So my hope is that if you ever feel soreness after a workout or the day after, these couple of things can give you all the relief you need. So hopefully you find this helpful. give this a shot next time that back is a little bit tight. And if that doesn't clear it up, we also take care of the more extreme cases here as well, which I can certainly help you with.